Man, you better stop playing on my top, man. Y'all know it's sport, man. I'm 10 toes down. I hold it down, stay solid. They hate it. Forward to control, they quick to pray. I'm a young G to skate it for license.
I guess at some point after the fact, the state wants to take a proffer from you or have a discussion with you, ask you some questions about whatever that may be.
He decides to flip and become a cheese eater.
As a mother, how did that make you feel?
It's heartbreaking. It made me feel completely helpless.
YNW Bortlen has finally broken his silence about his shocking plea deal in the YNW Melly case. But before we even get to his jail call, Florida courts made it clear they are worried about Bortlen's safety behind bars. Headlines today read, as predicted, Bortlen takes a deal. And that's not all. He also signed a proffer agreement, which means he's officially cooperating with prosecutors. His sentence? 10 years in prison plus 6 years probation minus time served. A huge drop compared to the multiple life sentences he was staring down. Court emails confirm prosecutors have already requested Bortlen's deposition within 30 days, saying they're concerned he might not survive long enough to testify. In other words, they fear he'll get caught lacking in his cell block before delivering the testimony that could destroy Melly's defense. This pressure led Bortlen to release a jail message of his own, pushing back against the narrative.
Man, you better stop playing on my top, man. Y'all know it's sport, man. I'm 10 toes down. I hold it down, stay solid. They hate it. Forward to control, they quick to pray. I'm a young G to skate it for license. What I look like taking the deal that hurt my. I look like giving a about how y'all feel. I'm a young fly. Be back to raise and prevail. Damn, why they wanted to take that L? Don't you know you can see the dirt for even speaking that L? It's bought the sport name a part of Mickey Mouse Clubhouse. YNW for never be stopped. Let's stop playing on my top like y'all know what the f going on, man. Hey, free me in, Melly, boys.
Some believe Bortlen is fighting not just for survival, but for his rap career. He knows if he gets out one day, that snitch label could kill his future. DJ academics quickly broke it down. Bortlen pled no contest. That means he has to provide a factual story of how he committed accessory after the fact, which confirms the murder itself took place. The same crime Melly is charged with. AK explained this isn't just a simple yes or no plea. With a proffer, Bortlen can't stay quiet. He's got to sing like Franklin, AK said, comparing it to Ghana's case, only with much higher stakes.
I just tweet out saying people are upset. I said this is a gunna plea. This is a gunna plea. This isn't a plea saying you have to tell on him, but this is a plea that you're going to have to provide all the details that they were missing to convict him. And that's why it's a gunna plea. Why do I say he signed a gunna plea? Because YNW Melly, and I watched the case, we covered it. YNW Melly's case is that, number one, you guys have not done a job to prove that this is actually they have proved, but prove that this is a homicide with this person being the offender. Also, the accessory after the fact plea confirms that Bortlen, that's kind of like almost like a sub part of a conspiracy, except you weren't with the conspiracy at first. You came in after the fact. What that proved is that they came in. Oh my God, my nose hurt. What that proved is that Bortlen worked with someone after he acknowledged that a took place in trying to cover it up. You hear what I just said? When pleading to an accessory to after the fact, you have to acknowledge that the happened and you assisted someone or in some way to cover the. Now, if Melly's statement is, how do we know? And then secondly, how do we know who did it? Because they said it was a drive-by.
To make it clear, Bortlen doesn't have to directly say Melly's name, but he must tell prosecutors exactly how the crime unfolded from his perspective inside the car. Even without pointing a finger, Bortlen's version of events will confirm that Sack Chaser and Juvie weren't killed in a drive-by, which completely destroys Melly's entire defense strategy. That's why this plea deal is so devastating. Bortlen was facing life behind bars, but in exchange for telling everything he knows, he walked away with just 10 years. Even the judge admitted, I don't know how your lawyers pulled this off.
And it's my understanding that you want to resolve both cases today. Is that correct? Yes. And that resolution is an agreement you've reached with the state, the terms of which are as follows. Number one, in the 19 case, you're going to plead no contest to both counts of accessory after the fact. In the 23 case, you're going to plead no contest to all 4 counts as charged. In exchange for that, the state is going to null process, that is, drop the 2 first-degree. In exchange for that, I'm going to adjudicate you guilty on the 2 accessory counts as well as the tampering count. I'm going to sentence you to 10 years in Florida State Prison.
This has already been called the greatest plea deal in history. from 5 life sentences down to a decade in prison. High-profile attorney Bradford Cohen, who has represented stars like Lil Wayne and Kodak Black, said it best: Bortlen took the cheese and will likely flip on Melly to save himself.
All right, let's talk YNW Melly and YNW Bortlen. He is now doing the triple Lindy. For those youngsters that don't know what the triple Lindy is, it is when you do several flips off a high dive, and he will be flipping. He is going to be tell-all about anything he knows about the double case, and they will know if he's telling the truth or telling a lie when he gives his full quote-unquote confession as to what happened that evening. And that's what happens. A lot of times where guys are in the prison for 4 or 5 years awaiting trial and looking at a life sentence, and they're offered 10 years where they'll be home probably in another 3 years that he'll serve, he decides to flip and become a cheese eater. And that's what happens a lot of times on these cases. And I was expecting it to happen a lot sooner than it did. He held out for quite some time. But long story short is it looks like he's going to flip, and it makes the case on YNW Melly, depending on what he says, which I anticipate he'll say that YNW Melly is responsible.
Even 6ix9ine chimed in. Bortlen just took the plea. Melly is finished. I told y'all years ago. In court, the judge directly told Bortlen that prosecutors will want a full interview, meaning they're ready to squeeze every detail out of him.
Sir, lastly, and I want to make it very clear on the record, and it's unrelated to this negotiated change of plea, I guess at some point after the fact, the state wants to take a proffer from you or have a discussion with you, ask you some questions about whatever that may be. What I want you to understand, sir, is I guess that's part of this negotiated resolution, but your answers to any of those questions, whatever they might be, have no bearing on me and have no bearing on this negotiated resolution. In other words, the deal you've negotiated is the deal you've negotiated, and that's the ballgame. Do you understand all that, sir? Have you had enough time to talk to your lawyers about all that? They've answered all your questions? You're sure that that's what you want to do?
The internet exploded. Offset tweeted, "Damn, Melly really getting snitched on by his best friend. Free that boy, he's been locked up way too long." But the truth is, Bortlen had no choice. Would you risk 5 life sentences or take the deal? Drop your answer in the comments.
Mr. Henry, do you understand the offer that the state is making to you? Okay, you're charged as follows. Counts 1 and 2 is the first degree with a firearm. Those are capital felonies, which means it's a mandatory life sentence. If the jury convicts you of count 1 or count 2 as charged, that's life in Florida State Prison. I have no discretion. Count 3 and count 4 are accessory after the fact to the first degree. Those are each first degree felony. The maximum penalty for each of those is 30 years in Florida State Prison. Count 1 is tampering with a witness in a capital felony. That is punishable by life in Florida State Prison. Is directing the activities of a criminal, that's a first degree felony punishable by life. So the maximum penalty there is also life in Florida State Prison. Count 5 is conspiracy to commit tampering. And again, as it's charged, that is also a life felony. As to all the charges that you're facing, the maximum possible penalties are as follows. Life in Florida State Prison, followed by 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 75 years in Florida State Prison.
Here's something most people don't know. Melly's own defense lawyer actually threw Bortlen on the bus first. During the original trial, Melly's attorney suggested it was Bortlen who lied to the feds, pointing out he had gunpowder residue on his hands and was the last one seen with Sack Chaser and Juvie alive.
Those were his lies. Cortland Henry shows up at Memorial Hospital, Miramar. You don't see him sitting there, but where you will see him sitting is in the driver's seat of a car with 2 bodies, car riddled with bullets. And when he shows up with a change of clothing, change of shirt, powder residue on his hands, evidencing that he had discharged a firearm. And he lies. He lies about where the incident occurred. He lies about how it occurred. And he lies about not having a phone. I think it was Miss Bradley herself who said, everybody has a phone in his pocket. Now, Cortland Henry.
The defense even brought in a forensic scientist to highlight Bortlen's gunshot residue. That move created a deep divide between Melly and Bortlen, one prosecutors would later use as leverage.
So the right hand of Cortland Henry contained 0 particles characteristic of gunshot residue and two component particles. And the left hand contained 1 particle characteristic of gunshot residue and 1 2-component particle.
Okay. And can you explain to us what that means?
Basically, overall, there was gunshot residue present on the hands.
After Melly's mistrial, Bortlen tweeted a cryptic message. "Mind games don't work on people like me," with a handshake emoji, almost as if he was sealing a deal. But even on the night of the crime, Bortlen was already under pressure. During his interrogation, when officers asked if he knew who did it, he didn't answer verbally. Instead, he simply shook his head no.
By just telling me the truth, even if it's something that I don't want to hear, but I respect the truth rather than BS, okay? And a simple question. If you knew who did this, okay? You may or may not know. If you knew who did this, would you tell me? It's either a yes or no question. Answer.
Honestly?
Yeah, honestly. The truth. You wouldn't?
Because I wouldn't want to be a part of that. I wouldn't want to be.
That silent gesture told investigators everything. Experts say Bortlen avoided speaking because he didn't want to lie out loud. But he also didn't want to expose Melly. It showed he knew the truth, but was desperate to stay out of it. The feds already had Melly on wiretaps admitting things. What they needed was Bortlen, and now they have him.
The PT Gambino account asked him if he was okay, and his response was, "I did that," and placed a smiley face emoji.
And the next message from 10/26/2018 at 16:02 from Eastern Standard Time. The YNW Melly account says what?
After that, SHHHH.
For Melly, this was a crushing blow. He was so confident about his retrial that he ordered a $100,000 chain from jail, expecting to wear it after walking free.
I would assume
But it's still,
that he spent a lot of money on lawyers. Like an amount that would probably...
That kid spent a lot of money on a lot of things that shouldn't have been spent on.
Really? Like what else?
And cars, jewelry. And he's not even out to wear the jewelry. I'm like, why are you buying jewelry? You're not here to wear the jewelry.
No, definitely lawyers are probably the best thing you can spend
That's
money
what
on.
bro. But he's good with lawyers, bro. Like, money ain't an issue for lawyers. Like, he's fine, but it's just like, there was a lot of stuff that should have went to lawyers that he didn't spend on lawyers. And I'm like, bro. And now it's like, he don't even want the chain no more.
But prosecutors were playing chess. They delayed Melly's retrial for over a year, giving them enough time to lock in Bortlen's cooperation. They also filed no communication order, making sure Melly and Bortlen couldn't talk, not even through lawyers. It was clear from the start. Their plan was to flip Bortlen against Melly.
Issue here, and you can try them together. It is to the benefit of the state to try them together. It just more efficient. You don't have to do things again and again. Do it all at once, and also you get a better chance of having them incriminate each other during the trial. It benefits the defense to sever it. That way they can point the finger at each other and get away with it. So this is what's going on. But I don't think it should be automatically severed because the state is seeking the penalty for Melly, because it's only the penalty phase of the trial that would be different, not the guilt phase. The guilt phase is the same. They're both capital crimes. You're seeking the penalty on one, not the other, but that goes into the second part of the trial, the penalty phase, only if Melly is found guilty.
With Bortlen now on their side, all he has to do is confirm details. Where people were sitting, what happened inside the car, and Melly's case collapses. And Bortlen has every reason to testify, especially after what was found during a search of his home.
Melly's co-defendant YNW Bortlen was booked into a Miami jail Monday night and is being held behind bars on an out-of-county warrant. We just confirmed the warrant is out of Broward County for witness tampering. The warrant obtained by Law and Crime Network states as follows. On or about April 10, 2023, continuing through and including July 22, 2023, Cortland Henry, aka Bortlen, along with others, did unlawfully and knowingly engage in misleading conduct toward another person with the intent to cause or induce them to withhold testimony. The warrant continues the alleged witness had been summoned by the legal process to the jury trial of Jamel Dimmons, aka YNW Melly. The dates in the warrant are important. Jury selection for Melly started in mid-April, and a judge declared a mistrial on July 22nd, the same day the warrant claims Bortlen allegedly tampered with the witness.
Prosecutors discovered drawings Bortlen made of jurors for Melly's first trial, where they sat and what they looked like. Why would Bortlen track jurors so closely? Some believe he was preparing for the possibility of retaliation if they convicted his best friend.
To keep it real, this is sloppy. Bortlen, how the f you gonna have the notebook of the jurors in your house? Holy sh! Like, come the f on. It's like doing a and having the surveillance tape in your DVD player or something like that. You know what I mean? Like, come on, bro. Like they raid your crib and the surveillance footage of the is in your DVD player. They be like, oh, okay, thank you, brother. This can't be at your crib.
But this goes deeper. Bortlen can also validate other suspicious details, like why rapper Fredo Bang picked Melly up on the side of the road after the murders, instead of going with Bortlen to the hospital.
And Chris Thomas are. So what you're also going to find out is while Mr. Devins is out there on the side of the road, 4 in the morning, 4:42 specifically, he sends a drop pin, digital homing beacon, to his current location, to one of his friends, Frederick Givens. Frederick Givens is also involved in the music industry, and he asked to be picked up. Frederick Givens, then about 11 minutes later, is sent another drop pin, where Mr. Devins has moved a couple of meters. What you're going to find out as well, though, is these digital leashes, they have more than just phone calls.
Prosecutors even want to tie Melly to gang affiliations, pointing to old Facebook posts with Young Thug, suggesting he was connected to the same network.
Same thing, the use of the slap term, 5-point star, snake. He's saying he's YSL, he's hanging with him. And he puts up his YNW for life hashtag on it with Mr. Devins has the big B hand signs displayed.
Okay, and see with individuals again, I'm assuming that's also Young Thug. That's also unknown.
Yes.
Also important to your investigation, correct?
Yes.
Also publicly available for anyone to see and capture.
In one dramatic court moment, Melly was seen argue with his own lawyers in open court, demanding they allow certain evidence in. Witnesses overheard him shouting, "I don't care, I'm not in no gang." They can't prove that.
Yes, sir. Against our advice, our client wants to proceed.
You objected to their request. We need to determine this automatic stay.
Based upon what our client has instructed us, yes, sir.
And there's more. Former associates claim Melly once asked King Vaughn for advice on handling people, fueling speculation of deeper gang ties.
I'm aware that 924-071 call for an automatic stay while
they were aggravators. They go to membership in a gang. There are things that the jury would have to find before going into penalty.
Not aggravator, that's the death penalty. Aggravator, that's the enhancement itself, Your Honor. That was charged. He was charged in committing the murder for the further conviction, which is an aggravator in terms of the guilt.
Something that they would have to find by way of an interrogatory.
Yes.
But prosecutors' most powerful weapon may be Melly's ex-girlfriend, Mariah Hamilton. She avoided testifying in the first trial after allegedly being pressured by Melly. But when she recently tried to re-enter the U.S., she was arrested at the airport.
Did Vaughn really tell you that Melly told him that he was two friends?
He ain't come out and say, like, we got into an argument. And so, you know, if you know, when people could say something without saying it. And so he told me, like, once I posted what I posted, Vaughn was mad at me. Bro, why you put up there, bro? Walter Bam. I'm like, you sitting up here like you know the love we got. You do this for us, but you gonna trust that his two friends? And he said, them was trying to extort him. And so I'm like, if they was trying to extort him, then why are you still around them?
In court, Mariah was offered a deal, testify against Melly and walk free. She instantly accepted. Worse for Melly, her iCloud reportedly holds messages and voicemails of him using jail phones to pressure her into staying quiet. Classic witness tampering, which alone carries a life sentence.
Mariah Hamilton is spending her first day at the Broward County Jail. She has no arrest record until now. U.S. Border Patrol agents arrested her at Miami International Airport Monday after she arrived on an international flight. Court records show Hamilton was ordered to testify in Demon's first trial in 2023.
Everyone back in Melly's hometown already knew Mariah left because of him. Even Juvy's father has said in interviews that Melly tampered with witnesses using jail calls.